Women Against Registry, Fighting the Destruction of Families, Our Position on the Registry, the Sex Offender Registry, a position paper by Women Against the Registry. So just to give you some backstory, the organizers of this website, the organizers of this organization, are women who are the mothers of sons. These are boy moms who are all upset that their sons have to register as sex offenders in their area. So all of these mothers of boys got together and said, what's happening to my son is not fair. He should not have to register as a sex offender for the crimes that he committed against girls and women. These are the women who are rallying up to Congress and to lawmakers to abolish the sex registry. And this is their position paper, right? So let's just read it. Women Against Registering, W.A.R, is an organization dedicated to the abolition of the sex offender registry. This essay will outline the principal reasons for our stance and why we are resolute in our belief that the registry serves no purpose and is, therefore, a waste of the taxpayers' money. Note, we acknowledge that every state operates its own separate registry and that they are sometimes quite different from the registries in other states. For the purpose of this essay, the term sex offender registry is a general reference to all registries. The sex offender registry is ineffective in the prevention of crime, despite the fact that this is one of its primary stated intentions. Scientific studies have conclusively shown that the registry does not deter crime, it does not decrease the occurrence of sex offenses, and it does not increase public safety. In fact, quite to the contrary, the registry sometimes increases crime because it forces registrants into unemployment, homelessness, and desperation. The registry works to thwart rehabilitation efforts while its supporters fail to recognize recent studies proving that most registrants are at a very low risk of reoffending. I just want you to just listen to that. This is the boy mom. This is her mindset. That my son shouldn't have to pay for his actions. He shouldn't have to register as a sex offender, even though he committed this crime. And the reason why he shouldn't have to register is because it does nothing in the long run. It does nothing. It doesn't stop crime from happening. I don't believe that the sex registry that was created a few years ago, maybe, 10, 15 years ago? I'm not really sure of the date. I have to look that up. But I'm certain that the registry wasn't to benefit the sex offender. The registry was to put on alert the people in the area where a sex offender would be moving into. Right? Remember Megan's Law and what happened to, how old was she? 7-year-old Megan? Who had a sex offender living next door to her, and no one knew about it until he kidnapped that poor child and did what he did to her, and then hid her body somewhere? Yeah, so let's get back to the boy mom and her advocacy of her son, right? This is what it says. Collateral damage refers to the harm inflicted on the family members of registrants. Collateral damage was almost certainly an unintended consequence of the creation of the registry, but when the sex offender list became available to the public, collateral damage became a very real punishment for those who had not committed a crime. It's always about her. She doesn't give a shit about your daughter. She doesn't give a shit about the person who her son hurt. She only gives a shit about how her life is affected because of her son's crimes. And this is what the next four videos will be about. It will be about the boy mom and how dangerous she is when it comes to the life of young girls and women. And I wanted to open this series up with this documentation in this letter to show you the extent of the boy mom and her mindset. Her son can do no wrong. And it's everyone else's fault as to why he is in the situation that he's in. It's never her fault. It's the girl's fault. It's the girl who is at school who's wearing a short skirt. It's her fault. So while women who have daughters are training their daughters on how to not get assaulted, because this is the world that we live in. We have to train daughters now to how to behave around the boy. You don't want to be too flirtatious. You don't want to wear this. You want to cover up. You don't want to say that. You don't want to egg him on. Everyone has to walk on eggshells for the boy. And it starts with his mom because she lives in the house of eggshells with him, right? So let's get back to this letter. These punishments include verbal abuse, harassment, property damage, and physical attack by vigilantes, loss of employment, loss of residence, reprisals for children at school, and public shaming. Sometimes these behaviors are even sanctioned by authorities. The punishing effect of the registry on innocent family members, she means herself, was one of the primary reasons for the formation of Women Against Registry. This cruelty is unconscionable. Fear and ignorance drive the public outcry for increasingly harsh punishments and for the maintenance of the registry. But as we wait for logic and reason to win out, families are being torn apart and lives are being destroyed. Women Against Registry stands strongly in opposition to all sex offender registries. Notice that she didn't say, we stand strong against sex offenders. Did you catch that? The mothers don't stand strong against sex offenders. So we said this before in another video I had. Mothers don't teach their sons that rape and assault of girls and women is wrong. They don't teach them it at all. What daughters do is they learn how to engage in society to remain safe. The boy mom is dangerous, and she may not like to hear this. And if you are a boy mom listening to this, you should just log off the video now because it's going to get worse and you're going to be triggered. You're going to be really triggered because I'm not gonna hold shorts because of your feelings. Like, your feelings mean nothing to me at this point, right? Similar to the post that I put on the community space this morning, where this entire high school hid the fact that this boy raped and assaulted 3 girls at the school in their girl facilities. Why? Because he had a dress on. And then when it was time for the victim impact statements, his mother said, well, you know, you're a big girl. You should have just defended yourself. This is the boy mom. And I'm going to read to you about the other case that just came out recently. I forget his name, but maybe 2 years ago, he shot and killed his father. He shot and killed his father, and he got off because of that crime. Then I guess Child Protective Services decided, well, he should be reunited with his mom. He's now in prison because he killed his mom. He stabbed his mother in the neck, and he killed her in her own house. And this is the woman that gave birth to him. And I know all of the boy moms are screaming, you know, you're acting as if girls don't hurt their parents too, and you're acting as if it's only boys. And I'm glad you said that because I wanted to read to you. This is from let me go up. This is from the National Library of Medicine. It says the epidemiology of homicide perpetration by children, and the abstract background reads, the United States has by far the highest rates of homicide perpetration among high-income countries. The perpetration of homicide by children is often newsworthy, but little is known about the incidence or the circumstance of child homicide perpetration. And it also reads, if you scroll down a little bit more, let me just pull up the article. The methods used for that study, it says we use data from the 16 state reporting to the National Violent Death Reporting System, NBDRS, for all years 2005 to 2012. So this is a really old study. We read every violent death report that was classified a homicide with a child suspect ages 0 to 14 to help ensure that we did not miss any homicide cases. We also read those classified as an other inflicted unintentional firearm injury, death with a child, shooter to determine if they were actually homicide. And these were the results. There were 154 child suspects, which corresponds to an average annual rate of 1.2 child perpetrators per million child population. We estimate for the United States as a whole, 74 children per year were homicide perpetrators. Nearly 90% were boys, 79% were aged 13 to 14, and another 13% were aged 11 to 12. We created 5 categories, which accounted for over 70% of events with sufficient information to determine what happened. 1, the caretaker, a juvenile, typically an older brother, is given the responsibility to care for an infant. The homicide usually occurs in a residence and blunt force is used, no guns. 2, killing an adult family member, typically a parent or grandparent. These cases usually occur in a residence and the child uses either a gun or a knife. 3, impulsive shooting during play. The child typically shoots a sibling or a friend, except for some notion of momentary anger. These cases look much like unintentional firearm fatalities. 4, robbery. A group of youths are trying to steal money, usually from an adult. And 5, group assault. A group of youth are fighting, usually other youth. They're fighting other children. And the conclusion is, child homicide perpetrators are typically boys who use guns, and the event can be classified into a small number of relevant categories. Such a categorization of events is useful for understanding the problem and determining the solution. So let's go back to the article where these women are claiming that, their sons are the victims and it's not fair that they have to be placed on a sexual registry. None of it is fair, and it's wrong that they are on that register. Women Against Registry stands strongly in opposition to all sex offender registries for the reasons outlined in this position paper, but we would like to emphasize that a public registry is especially cruel and invites vigilantism without any benefit whatsoever. The public registry promotes numerous punitive measures against many who have already paid a substantial debt to society. They also wrote, we believe the registry is a clear violation of the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution and its prohibition against double jeopardy. We believe that lifetime registration is cruel and unusual punishment and a violation of the Constitution's Eighth Amendment as well. And in far too many cases, we believe that the placement of individuals on the registry violates the due process clauses of the Fifth and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. Obviously, the vast majority of U.S. courts do not currently agree with our interpretation. It is a logical, smart, and humane to help incarcerated individuals rebuild their lives after their debt to society has been paid. To do this, we could and should offer them counseling while incarcerated and various forms of help after their release. At the very least, they deserve not to be hindered in their efforts. So instead of raising boys properly and raising boys to not commit crime and raising boys to do the right thing when it comes to his fellow human, no, the goal is placed on society's shoulders to pick up the pieces where she left off. Have you ever seen those TikTok videos where the moms are standing next to their sons and they're teaching their sons how to, for example, fold laundry or cook a meal. And then the mother gazes off into the camera and the caption reads, "Raising my son so that his future girlfriends and wife doesn't have to." So that's the epidemic. This is the reason why the boy mom is dangerous. A lot of the time, she's not raising her son. She's not raising her son. She has patriarchy to lean on. And in patriarchy, it will always be boys will be boys. So she may scream that she's in charge and, because you see that a lot of the neck twirling, a lot of my son knows better. Does he? Does he? Because a lot of the times when we do see men who commit crimes, they have mothers who claim that they knew better as well. Yeah, they don't know better. They don't know better. So everyone has to pick up the pieces behind the dangerous boy mom who is not willing to do the work because she leans on the fact that she gave birth to a boy and is therefore better and is therefore more secure in the society that we live in. She doesn't have to worry about her child being a victim of violence. If anything, she can kind of let him get away with what he wants to get away. And this is what we're seeing. It's not that I'm pulling this out of my colon. No, the studies are here. The studies are here. Boys are out of control. And when you look at their mothers, a lot of the times their mothers are doing nothing. A lot of the times they're back and forth into some system, and girls are stuck with dealing with these boys. They're stuck with dealing with them. The 3 girls in that high school who were all raped by the one boy in a dress, his mom was not apologetic at all to the family of the girls. His mother was very well, he's a boy. You ladies should learn how to defend. So that's the remedy for the boy mom. We're not going to raise him, but you need to learn how to act accordingly because I'm sending him out to the world to you. I'm sending him out to the world to your daughter. I'm sending him out to the world to do whatever he wants to do. And she will scream to the high heavens, to the ears of fake baby Jesus, that she didn't raise him like that. Yeah, but you didn't tell him what was wrong either. So yeah, we know maybe some cases, because there was that tweet that came out 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and the mother said she was purposely raising her son to destroy girls. We have mothers like that. But for the other mothers who scream that they didn't raise their children that way, yeah, but you don't really tell your children what not to do either. So you may not give your son a lesson on how to rape girls, but you're definitely not giving him a lesson on why he should not do that. Do you get it? When it comes to the male mind, you have to instruct him on what is wrong. And a lot of mothers do not instruct little boys on what is wrong. This is why the study that I posted in the community section on YouTube, little boys start watching pornography at 7. Where are their mothers? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. So their first lesson in how to treat girls and women comes from pornography. And does it come from a lesson that their mothers gave? Why would their mothers give them a lesson? She doesn't give a shit. As long as he's out of her hair when he's of age and into the arms of the woman who he's now a problem for, right? So the TikTok trend that came out where women were, showing their sons how to boil a fucking egg, that trend came out because women, and this is really funny because the women who have sons a lot of the times had to deal with men who had mothers who didn't treat them right, if that makes sense. So the woman who made that TikTok video that I spoke about where she's gazing into the camera and she's like, "I'm raising my son so you girls don't, your daughter doesn't have to." She's one of the women who had to deal with a male who was not properly raised by his mother. And this is why she's preparing her child to not be a problem for the next girl in the future. So boy moms know. They may flex like they don't know, but a lot of the times they do know because sometimes, well, not sometimes, but a lot of the times, the biggest hindrance in her life was a man who was not raised correctly. And she can't deny that. She can't deny that. She's harmed or she was scarred or she was hurt by the son of another woman. So this is why for those women who, participated in that TikTok trend, they participated in it because they were victims as well. But when you look at organizations like, Women Against Registry, a lot of the times boy moms have no concern for the victims of their sons. They don't give a shit. They actually blame the girls for being in a position where they, were harmed by their children. And we saw that in the post that I put. That case is all over Twitter. If you don't know about it, go to the community section on West 4B on YouTube, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. This mom got in front of a judge. This mom got in front of a family. And in her getting in front of this family, she was, very flippant. And she was, you ladies should learn how to behave better. And if you learned how to behave better, then maybe, just maybe, my son wouldn't have harmed your daughter. And the judge, I think, went over in court the son's psychological mental evaluation because she sent him out to do that. And you should read what the judge wrote. It's all there, right? So this is what the W.A.R moms are saying in continuation. It says, we strongly support the need for public safety. I think I read this already, but I'll just read it again. We strongly support the need for public safety. However, the current public outrage over the sex offender label is largely misplaced. It is a fallacy to think that all sex offenders fit neatly into a single classification. A disdainful response or a contemptuous look in is the normal reaction to almost anyone labeled as a sex offender. And yet, there are numerous individuals on the registry who are guilty of behavior that many of us would find innocent, silly, stupid, or juvenile, but certainly not criminal. Are you listening to this? This is what these boy moms wrote in regards to why the sex registry should be abolished. If you look at what they did, it would be considered silly, stupid, juvenile, not criminal. A peeping Tom is innocent to them. Someone who's, has a video camera up a girl's skirt. Yeah, that's innocent. It's just silly. The boy mom will always make excuses for her son. And the reason why she will always make excuses for her son is because her son will grow up to be the only male that has to report back to her in any capacity. And that's it. A lot of the times that's it. Her son takes place of the man that she no longer has. And this is the reason why she will make excuses for his behavior and fight tooth and nail anyone who disrupts his life. Even though he's out there committing crimes all over the place, shame on you for trying to discipline him. He's a boy. He's innocent. Meanwhile, the poor daughters of the world are trying their best to make it home in one piece and to stay away from the boy. And now they can't even stay away from the boy when they go to school because all of the schools, all of the laws, we all coddle to men. And one of the instances where we coddle to men is allowing these boys who identify as girls to use the facilities of young women. These are teenage boys. Teenage boys with their hands in their pants constantly watching porn. Of course they want to be in a girl's locker room. Of course they want to be in a girl's bathroom. Why else would they identify as that? This is why you're seeing so many young women victims of sexual abuse at the hands of the boy. And who's behind him? His mommy. She's behind him and she's his A1 supporter, right? Let's go back to the article. It says, but certainly not criminal. Educating the public about this issue would go a long way toward changing the laws in this country. And in fact, education is W.A.R's primary modus operandi to achieving its goal. You know what this sounds like to me? It sounds like the minor attracted persons seminar that was posted it was on Facebook and then it was on Twitter. And then I think it got removed and the girl who identifies as non-binary, that trendy bullshit. She was released from her position at that university. But if you listen to the entire lecture, she was very, it sounds the same way, that some men are just attracted to children, and we have to educate ourselves so that we can accept this behavior and not shame these men for their sexual attraction. Women are always making excuses for men. And this is an example of it. These women are hell-bent on getting this registry removed out of public law. And then it says, the Supreme Court of the United States, one of the world's most respected legal bodies, played an enormous role in promoting the fear and ignorance that has now become the bane of every sex offender across the country. Now we're not supposed to be fearful of the sex offender. And I said this on a Twitter post. I said that women are the only species on the planet finessed or purposely finessed to lower their gut instincts or to not have or foster their gut instincts. Isn't that wild that we were living in a society like that? It really is wild. And the more that I read this, the more it sounds like some men put women up to kind of facilitate or to draw up this organization. Similar to all of there's a lot of memes going around about Sharia law and Islam, right? This is just a side note. But for example, all of a sudden in the UK, you see women in full black hijab, and they're in front of these tables, right? And the tables are set out like in a public street, like I don't know if you're from New York City, but like think Jamaica Avenue in Queens, right? And it's put out on a public street, and there are people walking past, and on the table is this huge flyer that says "Women for Sharia Law." And they have on the table these pamphlets, they have the Quran, they have, sign-up sheets, and they're drawing in or trying to draw in other women into Islam. But we know that Sharia law doesn't even say that these women can even speak. They're not even supposed to be out of the house, right? If you want to talk about real Sharia law, the woman is invisible. Just like that black hijab she's wearing, she's a cloud. She doesn't exist. So the fact that men are using women to draw in women into their religion is something that we constantly see. There's so many women, when it comes to men, they will stop at nothing and they will do everything that a man directs them to do. And I think the reason why is, if a woman is selling bullshit, it is more easily digestible than if a man were to sell it. Because, well, immediately, a lot of the times, people look at men and they say, okay, well, yeah, here's a man talking about minor attracted people. Here's a man talking about, let's get rid of the sex offender registry. Here's a man talking about the benefits of Sharia law. The public doesn't take to that too well. But if a woman is selling it, people will listen. Maybe, if they're not up on the bullshit. Right. And I think that when we look at this organization, I believe that it's boy moms, and I also believe that it's men and women who got together, and men are standing behind women and are pushing this narrative forward that we are women and we want for this to be abolished. Because there's no way that women who are victims of crimes would come together and write something like this. I think that the reason why this came about is because these men know that if women stand up for them, that it's more than likely to be accepted and to even be, entertained by other women. And I think that was the hope, similar to the Sharia law bullshit, right? And this is just a random side note, and I want for everyone to kind of pay attention to this. When I started W.A.R in 2023, and it rose up and then it got attacked, the main individuals who attacked W.A.R were boy moms. The majority of them were mothers who have boys. And I remember when we had lives on TikTok, and there was so many boy moms who came into the live discussion, and they wanted to be centered. They wanted to, well, what does this mean for me and my son? Can I be a part of W.A.R? That was always the narrative. It was always about them and how they presented to the world. And they never said anything to, well, I understand why women today would be interested and participating in something like 4B. I understand the violence against women and girls. I understand how scary it must be for young girls in a society where they now have to shower with boys in their locker room. I understand that. And I will do my best as a mom to train my son to be an individual that your daughter doesn't have to recover from. No, that was never the dialogue for any of the women that I met when I started West 4B. It was always about my son, my boy, my son. And, I don't like 4B a lot. And I get that. I get, why would a mother like West 4B? Why would a mother like 4B? A lot of the times, these mothers are counting the days for their sons to haul ass out of their homes. A lot of the times, these mothers are waiting to unload their boys to the next girl, to the next woman, so that she can let her hair down. Raising boys is not easy. And this business of having boys is better than having girls is a crock of shit. It's the biggest crock of shit. Right? Because I've seen women with sons and they look a mess. They look like they want to pull their hair out. But the narrative is, it's a boy. He's blessed. He's better. Right? All over the world, you see women are throwing their daughters in the garbage can and boy moms are holding their sons up above their head. So in regards to 4B, yes, I get it. Because now something like 4B is saying, no, we're staying away from the boy. We are staying away from the man. And women don't like that, especially if they had sons. Because these women who have sons, they want grandchildren. And a lot of the times when women are grandparents, if the child who had the child is not a woman, it's very rare that you're going to be engaging with that child the way you want to. Why? Because a lot of the times when it comes to children, men don't really give a shit. They don't. They don't give a shit. And what happens is that we're bullied and we're gaslit into believing that, no, it's not all men. It's all men until it's no men. And this is the reason why I believe so many people look at women as the problem, because a lot of the times they continue, despite what they see, they continue to participate. That is the ego of the woman. She believes that she's magical. She believes that she's a gift. Her son is also an extension of her and he's a gift. So we're all supposed to just adapt to his horrible behavior. And women are learning how to adapt. Now more women are talking about 4B. More women are not dating. More women are not having children. More women are not getting married. They don't want to deal with the boy. They don't want to deal with the man. Because the man was raised by a woman who's also misogynist. A lot of the times when you do see these boy moms, they hate women. They hate women. So why would they train their sons to be semi-decent to a girl? No man has ever been decent to her. So she feels, I went through it. You have to go through it too. Yeah. But this is going to be a really cool 4 videos. It's going to be a really cool series. I'm really excited about the next 4 videos surrounding the boy mom. I'm going to be reading from Reddit. I'm going to be reading from Twitter. I'm going to be reading from all over the place, news articles, and we'll just get into it for the next 4 videos. And again, if you're a boy mom and you don't like the content, you don't have to listen. This video series is not really for you. The video series is actually for the mothers of daughters who want their daughters to get home safely and want their daughters to develop a sense of fear, the gift of fear when it comes to your boy, right? Because now we're telling girls, oh, it doesn't matter what you feel in your gut, just ignore it and participate with the male and the boy in their delusion. No, this video is for the girls. This video is for the mothers of girls who want to keep their girls safe. We know that boy moms don't give a shit. They can listen to this video. They're going to chuck it off as bullshit. They're going to chuck it off and say, oh, she's another fucking hater. Wonderful. That's expected. We know you're not going to raise your sons. We get it because you haven't been doing so like forever, right? This video is more for the women who have daughters and they want to keep their daughters safe. Yeah.